Jesus approaches Jerusalem and sends 2 disciples to retrieve a donkey and a colt, fulfilling the prophecy from Zechariah 9:9. Say to daughter Zion, see your king comes to you, gentle and riding on a donkey, and on a colt, the foal of a donkey. The disciples place their cloaks on the animals, and Jesus rides into the city. A large crowd spreads their cloaks and branches on the road and shouts, Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest heaven! The whole city is stirred, asking, Who is this? The crowd answers, This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth in Galilee. Jesus enters the temple courts and drives out the money changers, saying, It is written, My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. He heals the blind and the lame in the temple. Children continue to shout, Hosanna to the Son of David, and the religious leaders become indignant, but Jesus affirms their praise. After several days of teaching and confronting the religious leaders, Jesus tells his disciples that in 2 days he will be handed over and crucified. At the same time, the chief priests and elders gather at the palace of the high priest Caiaphas and plot to arrest Jesus secretly and kill him, but they fear doing it during the festival, Passover, to avoid a riot. A woman anoints Jesus with expensive perfume. The disciples are upset at the waste, but Jesus praises her. She has done a beautiful thing to me. When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. Judas Iscariot goes to the chief priests and agrees to betray Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Jesus shares the Passover meal with his disciples. He predicts that one of them will betray him. During the meal, he breaks bread and shares wine, saying, This is my body, this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. Jesus prays in the Garden of Gethsemane, overwhelmed with sorrow. He says, My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will. Judas arrives with soldiers and betrays Jesus with a kiss. Jesus is arrested, and the disciples flee. Jesus is brought before the high priest. False witnesses accuse him. When asked if he is the Messiah, Jesus replies, You have said so, and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One. The high priest tears his robes and declares Jesus guilty of blasphemy. Meanwhile, Peter denies knowing Jesus 3 times, just as Jesus had predicted, and weeps bitterly. Jesus is taken to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Though Pilate finds no guilt in him, the crowd, stirred by the priests, demands, Crucify him. Pilate symbolically washes his hands and says, I am innocent of this man's blood. It is your responsibility. Barabbas, a criminal, is released instead of Jesus. Jesus is mocked, beaten, and led to Golgotha. He's crucified between 2 criminals. Darkness covers the land, and at about 3 p.m., Jesus cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me? Then he gives up his spirit. The temple curtain is torn in 2, the earth shakes, and the centurion says, Surely he was the Son of God. Jesus is buried in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. A stone is rolled in front of the entrance, and Roman guards are posted to prevent his disciples from stealing the body.